Northland sheep and beef farmer John Blackwell participated in a Beef and Lamb New Zealand project called Finish by 20 Months. MPI's Sustainable Farming Fund and the Hinirangi Trust also supported the study. The project saw increased cattle growth rates on Chicory and provided advantages for sheep productivity too.
This is a sheep and beef farm, 345 hectares. Stock units vary from about 2,500 to 5,500. 3/4 is now run as beef. We've had Wagyu beef here, but mostly Friesian bulls. The sheep are coop worth. We finish most animals, but if we get a severe drought, we are known to sell store animals. The strengths of this property is it's very good at growing grass through the winter. It's a dominantly ryegrass farm, so we don't have the kikuyu issues with it. It's in the north, so temperatures don't get cold, we don't get snow. We don't get below 14 degrees highs that often, so it's a very good winter property. The last 6 years we've had 4 severe droughts. We've got a policy of having bulls that are ready pre-Christmas. That gets us out of trouble for the summer, and that's how we are working around our summer dry. Now the lambs, that's a little bit of an issue. In the Chicory with the lambs was a great thing to have to finish them quickly in the early summer, and that safeguards us a bit, but we have dropped our ewe numbers down so we're not so reliant on finishing those lambs as we were. We haven't got a high percentage of breeding stock here, so we haven't got any breeding cows, so we can trade. So our buying in and selling of our cattle is our flexibility, and that's what is our main strength here. Chicory is a great advantage to this property because we grow quality herb which has a high ME at a time when ryegrass doesn't, so it sort of complements each other. We did a trial with beef and lamb, and that was called Finish in 20 Months. It was to do with trying to grow young cattle, calves, through the summer and autumn, which is a challenge. So we did it with the Chicory. We found that they did outstanding figures and were easily achieving 1.1 kilos a day, where the control mobs were doing about 0.2 to the challenge of the ryegrass. And actually grass staggers became the main issue with the Friesian bull calves. So we found that Chicory was actually a great thing for cattle, to grow young cattle through the summer. Chicory, you don't get facial eczema, grass staggers or virus pneumonia. It doesn't seem to be an issue. Stock grow really, really quickly on it. It's easy to grow. It doesn't like 2,4-D, but we have ways of getting around the thistles with MCPB, and the sheep tend to take the Chicory out if you lightly graze it, then we throw a tractor on there and give it a bit of a spray. So it's a plus. It's a good product. The advantage is that we're often short of feed in the autumn, and Chicory's really rawing away in April, May, and it builds up our covers, so the rest of the farm, which is a lot of it's rye, we can build that feed up. Chicory's done its job, moving back onto the old rye and clover pastures. These are the ewe hoggets. They've got the Suffolk ram running with them, so they're mated. Expect to get a scanning result of somewhere between 110 to 140%. Usually dock about 110, 116, somewhere around there. They came through a private discussion group that had the same genetics as mine, and he was lambing his ewe hoggets as I was. The difference was I had mine on Chicory, and my flock was probably 10% behind on his, on the ewes, but when I made the hoggets, I was always about 20 or 30% ahead, and I put it down to the Chicory as Northland, when the hoggets are to the ram, the endophyte's quite high in the ryegrass. There was some make-up there that dropped the percentage, so that's what I put the credit down to, is probably a lack of ryegrass and Chicory. Well, we started cropping, and the idea was to get the lambs off quickly, so we had brassicas, and the brassicas were good, but it takes 3 to 4 weeks for the lamb to adjust to the crop of brassica in the stomach, to change the diet, which was okay. It grew a lot of product, but it used to get butterflies and those problems. And then when we started on the Chicory, we got a better live weight gain per day, like 350 grams a day was quite achievable. And there was no adjustment to their diet. They went straight on, they grew. And then we found we could leave the Chicory in for quite a few years, so it became quite a cheap crop to maintain. Chicory is a grunty, high-quality product that you can grow through the summer that has a long taproot, so it tends to keep growing even under dry conditions. We were a discussion group back in 1999. It was considered to be a good idea to put a techno system in, which was done, a 6-lane system, and a hill block behind us as well. And it's performed very well for 15 years. Haven't had a problem with it, really. Production was fantastic. First year, I think we made $1,000 an acre. What we bought and sold for, production was about 1,200 kilos a hectare of live weight game. In the winter, this country will pug if we get it too wet. That's why we like that long rotation, so we get that 90 days for the paddocks to recover, and then we get quicker and quicker down to 21 in the spring when it's really going quick. The idea is that we're doing them reasonably well. We're not holding them back too much, so that if we have a destocking that will start in probably late October through till probably beginning of February. So we'd hope to think we're down to half our winter numbers sometime in January, February.
This program was made with funding from New Zealand On Air.